You know, I was standing in the security line at the airport last month watching a guy, bless his heart, try to wear 4 jackets at once.
Oh, no.
He looked like the Michelin Man.
Yeah.
He was sweating, miserable, couldn't bend his arms.
All to avoid a baggage fee.
Exactly. And I had this distinct thought. At what point does trying to win at travel actually make you the loser?
It is the classic modern travel paradox, isn't it?
Wow.
We are absolutely bombarded with content promising one weird trick to hack the system.
Right.
But when you're sweating through 4 layers of polyester in TSA line, holding up 50 people, are you really winning? Or are you just suffering with more complexity?
It is exactly what we're digging into today. We're looking at a really refreshing, slightly cynical, and incredibly useful piece of writing.
Yeah, I loved this.
It's from the blog Wanderlust Over 70, written by Roberta Hill. The post is titled Hack versus Tip, a completely unnecessary distinction.
A great time.
And I think for anyone who has ever doom-scrolled through travel advice at 2 a.m. looking for a miracle solution, this is going to be a massive wake-up call. It's a total reality check. Yeah. And what I love is that Hill isn't just giving us packing advice here. She is dismantling the entire vocabulary we use to talk about travel.
Yes.
She's challenging this obsession we have with hacking our way across the globe as if travel is a video game you can beat if you just know the up, up, down, down cheat codes.
Exactly, like the airline is the final boss battle. So our mission for this deep dive is to deconstruct that mindset. We're going to look at why we love the idea of a hack so much, why boring advice is usually the only advice that actually works, and we'll break down Hill's taxonomy of travel tips.
Including the only one she thinks actually qualifies as a genius move.
Yes.
And she starts right out of the gate by attacking the language itself. She argues that the difference between a hack and a tip has nothing to do with how useful the advice is.
No.
It's entirely about personality and marketing. I loved her definition here. It made me laugh because it's just so true. She says a tip is something practical. It's arrive early for immigration.
Boring.
Boring. It works. You remember it because it makes logical sense. But a hack, how does she distinguish that?
She says a hack is that exact same advice, but it's wearing a hoodie and screaming at you.
Right. It's the clickbait headline. This one-trick border agents don't want you to know.
Which, ironically, is usually just have your passport ready and open to the photo page.
Exactly. Hill makes this great observation that a hack is something you screenshot, you forget, and then you rediscover 3 months later when you're clearing out your phone storage.
Yes. It's information designed to be consumed, not used. It just makes you feel productive for reading it.
Total.
But there's a third category she introduces that I think is the core of this whole philosophy. She calls it travel wisdom.
This was the part that really stuck with me because wisdom sounds so lofty, you know, like something you find on a mountaintop. But her definition is actually quite painful. She defines travel wisdom as a tip you ignored once and paid for in time, money, or dignity.
The dignity part is doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
It really is. It's the visceral memory of being the person arguing at the gate or the person sprinting through the terminal with your shoes untied.
It's the tuition you pay to the University of Travel, and that connects to the source itself. Wanderlust over 70. Hill argues there's an inverse relationship between age and the desire for hacks.
Yeah.
When you're young or new to travel, you want to outsmart the airline. You want to beat the system. But as you get older or just more experienced, you stop wanting miracles.
You just want fewer regrets.
Exactly.
It's a shift from ego to utility. A hack feeds the ego. Look how clever I am. I snuck this extra bag on. A tip just serves the utility. I'm at my destination, I'm calm, and I have my underwear.
Exactly. It's about moving from performance to function. So Hill takes this framework, hacks versus tips versus wisdom, and she applies it to the places where travelers usually feel the most stress.
And she starts with the belly of the beast, the airport.
Of course.
She calls airports the place where hacks go to cosplay as survival skills, which is just such a vivid image. It feels like everyone is preparing for battle.
It's so accurate. I mean, think about the advice you see on TikTok or Instagram. Wear slip-on shoes to get through security 15 seconds faster.
Right.
Have your laptop in a specially designed easy access sleeve. Hill says, stop calling these hacks.
It's not a hack. Wearing slip-ons is just physics. It's just speed. It's sensible footwear.
And having your documents ready isn't a hack. It's basic courtesy to the 50 people standing behind you who also want to get home.
But here is the interesting psychological shift she points out. We tend to assume that the expert traveler is the one zooming through the lines, right?
The George Clooney and Up in the Air character.
Yes, the one cutting corners, moving fast, efficiency incarnate. We idolize that.
We do. We equate speed with expertise. We think if you aren't moving fast, you're doing it wrong.
But Hill argues the opposite. She says the truly experienced traveler, the one with the wisdom, doesn't rush. They pace themselves.
Because they know something the hackers don't.
What's that?
They know that the airport always wins. That's the fundamental truth of air travel. The system is undefeated. You can't outsmart a canceled flight. You cannot hack a security shutdown.
Okay.
So the expert arrives early, not because they are anxious, which is usually why I arrive early.
I too.
But because they dislike chaos.
And that distinction is key. The novice arrives early because they're scared of missing the flight. The expert arrives early because they want to sit down and have a coffee while everyone else panics.
She has this phrase, we build slack into the day. The goal isn't to be the fastest person through the line. The goal is to be the calmest person at the gate.
So stop trying to be Jason Bourne, dodging agents and vaulting turnstiles, and just be a person with a book.
Essentially. And if that sounds boring, well, that's the point. Boring means nothing went wrong.
Speaking of things we try to overcomplicate, packing. This section of the blog post was hilarious because I felt so targeted.
Oh, me too.
I think I've bookmarked 5 different videos on military rolling t-shirts.
Where hacks go to lie, she calls the suitcase.
Yes. She takes on the 2 sacred cows of travel packing. First, rolling your clothes. I've been told for 10 years that rolling clothes saves space, Hill says. That's just folding with optimism.
It's harsh, but she's right. It's a geometry problem.
Yeah.
The volume of the shirt doesn't change because you rolled it like a burrito.
Right. It might fit in a weird corner, but the mass is the same.
And then, packing cubes.
Drawers with ambition.
I felt that one.
I use packing cubes. I love them. But I admit, she has a point. They organize your stuff, but they don't make your stuff smaller.
No.
They just make your overpacking look neater.
And that's the trap. A hack suggests that if you buy the right gear, the cubes, the vacuum bags, you can defeat gravity. You can bring the extra coat.
Right.
A tip or wisdom admits the reality. You are bringing too many shoes.
It's a volume problem, not a storage problem. You can't defeat physics with a zipper.
Precisely. And she offers a rule here that I think is brilliant. It's restrictive, but brilliant. She says, if you didn't wear it on the last trip, it is auditioning for failure on this trip.
Auditioning for failure. I need that on a sticky note because I always pack that one fantasy self outfit, you know?
The what if I get invited to a gala on a Tuesday outfit?
Yes. And it never leaves the bag. It just travels to Europe and back, seeing nothing but the inside of the suitcase.
And carrying that dead weight is the payment in dignity she talks about.
Yeah.
You're lugging around your own insecurity. Wisdom is just acknowledging your own patterns.
Okay, that makes sense.
Hill admits she still overpacks, but she does it knowingly. She doesn't use a hack to pretend she isn't doing it.
It feels much healthier to just admit I am high maintenance rather than I am a packing ninja.
Exactly.
Now we have to talk about the section she calls where hacks go to die.
Bureaucracy, visas, immigration, the part of travel no one puts on Instagram.
This is where people get really desperate for a shortcut. We want to skip the lines, skip the forms.
They do. But Hill is categorical here. There are no hacks for government bureaucracy. There's only reading and patience and humility.
She mentions apply early is often sold as a hack. Hack your visa application by applying 3 months out.
But that's not a hack.
No.
It's just acknowledging that the government does not share your sense of urgency. The State Department doesn't care that your cousin's wedding is next weekend. They operate on their time.
And this leads to her advice about technology. She has a very specific rule. Print everything.
In 2026, we think having everything on our phone is the smart way. We trust the cloud.
Right. Papers for dinosaurs.
But the cloud doesn't work in a concrete basement at customs with no signal.
Good point.
Exactly. She says relying on digital copies is a form of smugness, and smugness is the enemy of the traveler. Printing your documents isn't about being a Luddite. It's about understanding that Wi-Fi disappears precisely when you feel the most confident.
Or your battery dies. Or the app crashes.
Right. It goes back to that idea of control. The hacker thinks they can control the situation with technology.
Yeah.
The wise traveler knows they can't control the technology, so they bring a failsafe.
They bring paper.
And they cooperate. She makes a point that experienced travelers don't try to outsmart immigration officers with clever answers or jokes. They are polite, They are boring, and they bring receipts.
Boring keeps you out of the interrogation room.
Words to live by: never be the most interesting person in the customs line.
Then there's the final category of fake hacks, money. She says this is where hacks put on a fake mustache and pick your pocket.
This references the massive industry of travel-for-free content, the credit card points, the airfares.
The I flew first class for $5 stories.
Right. Don't pay fees is a wish, not a hack.
Yeah.
And usually the secret is just a sponsored post for a credit card with a high annual fee that you probably don't need. But the insight here is really about what you value.
Okay.
She says experienced travelers don't chase free. They chase predictability.
That is a huge shift in mindset because free sounds so good. Who doesn't want free?
But free often comes with hidden costs. A flight with 3 layovers might be $200 cheaper, but you're paying for it with your sanity, your sleep.
And the high likelihood that your bag won't make it to the final destination.
Exactly. Cheap and stress-free rarely sit at the same table.
I like that.
You pay with money or you pay with stress. The wise traveler knows the trade-off and chooses accordingly.
So after debunking all these, Hill actually zooms out and creates a taxonomy. She classifies travel advice into 4 types.
Yeah, and this is so useful for filtering what we see online so you don't get sucked into the hype.
It's a great framework.
The first type she identifies is the tip, dressed as revelation.
This is the gravity example again.
Yes, sensible advice branded as a new discovery. Drink water on the plane. Wear comfortable pants.
Bring a snack.
It's true, it's useful, but it's not a hack. It's just being a functioning mammal.
Then you have type 2, the outdated success.
This is the danger zone. This is advice that worked in 2016 but is lethal today. Book your flight on a Tuesday at midnight.
Oh, I've totally fallen for this. I remember trying to clear my cookies to get cheaper flight prices because an article told me to, and it made absolutely no difference.
Exactly. If you follow advice from 5 years ago, you aren't hacking the system. You're using an old map for a new territory. It might actually cost you money.
Then the third type. This one I think is the most common and the most confusing. The strategy disguised as a hack.
This is where we mistake personal preference for universal truth. Hill uses her own life as an example. She always checks a bag. Always.
Which for the carry-on-only crowd, and I count myself among them sometimes, sounds like heresy. We look down on the checked bag people.
It does. But for her, it's a system. It frees her up in the airport.
Yeah.
But she explicitly says, this is not a hack. It is a strategy.
Right.
Strategies are personal. What suits one traveler might drive another one crazy.
That's such a good distinction. A hack implies it works for everyone. A strategy implies it works for you. And then finally, she admits there is a fourth type, the MacGyver, the only true hack.
The rarest of species.
This is when you repurpose something you already have into something unexpectedly useful. And her example is, honestly, it's impressive.
The hair conditioner.
Yes. She brings a bottle of cheap hair conditioner, and she uses it for everything.
This list blew my mind. Shaving cream,
Styling gel,
makeup remover, moisturizing lotion,
laundry soap for hand-washing clothes in the sink.
and even hair sunscreen.
Before a pool day, yes, she coats her hair in it to protect it from chlorine.
That is the definition of utility. One of deck, 6 functions. That's a true hack.
Yeah.
And notice, it's not about buying a travel-specific 6-in-1 gadget from an Instagram ad. It's about taking something mundane and making it work harder. That, she argues, is the only time you can use the word hack.
I am definitely trying the laundry soap idea. If conditioner works, that saves me a bottle.
And that's the point. Simplicity.
Yeah.
It reduces the clutter in your bag and your brain.
So, after all this, after tearing down the fake hacks, explaining the strategies, and highlighting the rare MacGyver moments, Hill comes to a conclusion. She says she stopped using the word hack itself.
She has. She mentions somewhere between her 15th boarding pass of the year and her 3rd printed copy of the same visa, she realized she doesn't need hacks anymore.
Is it just semantics? Or is there a deeper philosophy there?
It's deeper. It's about the calm. She writes, hacks age badly, tips mature, wisdom settles.
Wisdom settles. That's poetic. It feels heavy, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Grounded.
It is. She stopped expecting travel to be something she can trick. When you stop trying to trick the experience, you stop fighting it.
You stop seeing every line, every delay as an opponent you have to defeat.
Exactly.
She says boring is freeing.
Think about it. If you have hacked your packing to the milliliter and a hack for the security line, you are operating at high mental tension. You are tight.
You're just waiting for the trip to work.
And if it doesn't work, if the bin is full or the line is slow, you crumble. You feel like you failed.
Yep.
But if you just follow the boring advice, arrive early, read the rules, pack less, you aren't tight. You're loose. You have a buffer. You have space for things to go wrong.
If that makes me boring, so be it. I've earned my calm.
That's the contrast she leaves us with. The image of the hacker, frantic, sweaty, trying to put on 6 layers of clothes.
Versus Roberta Hill, sitting down.
Sitting down, already sorted, reading a book. She isn't worried about the overhead bin because she checked her bag. She isn't worried about the security line because she's been there for an hour.
It's funny, we started this deep dive talking about how we want to be well-informed travelers, and we think that means finding the secret shortcut. But the nugget here is that the shortcut is the trap.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's a commentary on how we approach modern life. We are constantly sold the idea that there is a cheat code for everything.
A hack for productivity, a hack for sleep, a hack for relationships.
But usually the hack is just doing the work.
Right. Sleep hygiene is boring. Go to bed early. Saving money is boring. Spend less.
Arriving early is boring. But those are the things that actually reduce stress. We complicate things by looking for cleverness when the basics are what actually work.
It's the desire for the magic pill. But the magic pill is just drinking water and getting 8 hours of sleep.
And in travel, it's printing your visa and showing up 3 hours early. It's not sexy. It won't go viral on TikTok.
No.
But it will get you there with your sanity intact.
So what does this mean for you, for anyone listening, the next time you're planning a trip?
I think it means giving yourself permission to be uncool. Don't try to be the person who breezes through security with seconds to spare. Be the person who is sitting at the gate 30 minutes before boarding, watching the other people run.
Enjoy the boredom. And
Yeah.
if you see a headline that says, "This one trick will save your vacation,"
Just keep scrolling, or at least recognize it for what it is. Entertainment, not advice.
I really like the idea that strategies are personal. I think that's going to stick with me. I need to figure out my own strategies and stop apologizing for them.
And accept that travel, by nature, has friction. You cannot hack away the friction of moving your body thousands of miles across the earth. Things will go wrong.
You can only manage your reaction to it. That brings us back to the idea of dignity.
To travel wisdom.
Yeah, learn from her dignity payments so you don't have to make your own.
Exactly.
So here is a thought to leave you with. We spend so much energy trying to outsmart the systems we rely on, whether it's the airport or whatever. But if we stopped trying to beat the system and just accepted it for what it is, undefeated, as you said, how much mental energy would we free up to actually enjoy the journey?
That is the ultimate question.
Yeah.
Would you rather feel clever, or would you rather feel peaceful?
I think I'm ready to choose peaceful. I'm ready to earn my calm. Thank you all for listening to this deep dive. Safe travels and pack fewer shoes.
And print your documents.
See you next time.